Hi, I'm Chris Thompson, and this is the Brain Software Podcast, episode 209, emanating from the Hypnotic World Epicenter, Toronto, Canada. Here, we're going to discuss all things related to hypnosis, NLP, and self-improvement. But today, or that's what we normally do, today is a special day because we're going to teach you part 2. We're going to continue off where we left off from 208, and we're going to teach you more amazing effects that you can use to amaze and astound and your friends. That's right. So stay tuned. Here we go.
Yeah, how are you tonight? Thanks again. Just a kind of a disclaimer. There's some great stuff in this podcast and that, but you might have to wade through some stupidity to get there. That's all you can really ask of anyone.
Hello, dear friends. It's a wonderful day here in the Outback. It's a day filled with sunshine. It's a day filled with boomerangs and emus and kangaroos and duck-billed platypuses and that damnable didgeridoo that my son Danny is playing. Kill it, son.
Okay, Dad.
As I was saying, it's a day of that old tranquility again, now that the Shizjig Corporation has purchased Australia. It's completely ant-proof. Now, everything will be all right again. Because these are days of victory! So welcome to the Hypno East Studio, the youngest and most childish 69-year-old man on the planet. The writer of the Little White Balloon song and the self-confessed Keith Richards of hypnosis. Mike Mandel, everybody.
Yes, Christopher.
Just laughing because I almost spilled my water bottle. So we're about to start this podcast, 209, realizing that we originally planned to do a summary of some really cool stuff that we learned from guest trainers, good friends of ours. But in 208, we had too much awesome stuff, and we had to create an entire new podcast here on the fly. We said we were going to record 2 in one day, which we are, and we're joking because we realized we don't need to change our outfits. We don't need to like pretend it's a different day and put on a different shirt. So we have not changed. We've stayed in gear. All right. Today, we have some amazing effects because you taught a lot on 208.
I did.
But this is going to blow that out of the water.
Yes.
So definitely stay tuned.
But Chris, let's give, what promotions do we have that we need to talk about?
Let's quickly mention that if you want to come and hang out with us in Toronto, we recommend you go to MikeMandelHypnosis.com. Click on the events page, which is in the top navigation. You will see the Architecture of Hypnosis is coming up at the end of October here in Toronto. If you can't take the week off, take a plane, train, automobile. If you can't take the week off and come study with us, you might want to check out on that same events page. We have a program called Foundations Live where we hang out with everyone for 8 weeks, once a week for 2 hours. It's awesome. You're going to be learning hypnosis and then practicing it with us and
online.
Getting feedback. It's tons of fun. So that's all I want to say about promo stuff. Let's dive straight into content.
All right. Now, interestingly, Chris, there's a minor mistake here that's kind of annoying. It says featured, and it makes it look like it's one of the think tank words.
Oh, you're right. I see.
The think tank words are drawn from Savo Bukacek's think tank.
3 words.
And we then use our brain's pattern matching mechanism to see if we can map them across into the show. Usually
Which we failed to do on the last one.
Yes, generally it's an abject failure, but we've not given up on it because nobody can stop us. We admit it, so it's okay.
Okay, so let's read them all out.
The first one is checkers.
The second one is alertly. Ooh, an adverb.
And the third one is altercate.
Altercate, like an altercation?
Yeah.
Ooh, all right.
Altercate is the verb form.
Yes.
Now, let's start with checkers. I do not go immediately to the board game, but checkers was a dog that President Richard Nixon had.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I do.
Because I remember on The Simpsons, they said, "Where's the dog?" He said, "What happened to the dog if he dies?" And Homer says, "Well, he's gone to doggy heaven." And he said, "Well, doesn't that mean there's a doggy hell too, Dad?" And he said, "Well, yeah." And he said, "Well, which dogs go to doggy hell?" And he says, "Well, Nixon's dog, checkers, and Hitler's dog."
Oh man. Okay. So that's good. I cannot top that. So we're gonna move to alertly.
Okay, you go ahead with that.
Well, alertly. So I suppose it's the opposite of not alertly, like sleepily or
dullardly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're doing something with full alertness. So it makes me think about whenever you're having a conversation with somebody, when you're interacting with someone, you want to be calibrating and you must be alert in order to calibrate.
Well, yes. I'm also thinking of distant early warning systems like the DEW line, DEW, where at the Alert Air Force Base, they were watching always for Soviet missiles coming over.
Alertly.
In fact, I used to listen when I was a huge shortwave guy, Voice of Vietnam and all these things before the internet. I used to listen to what was called the Russian woodpecker. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
They had over the horizon radar. And you could hear this thing. It sounded like a woodpecker. And it was how they would check for incoming American missiles and so on.
I
so
had no idea.
We're saying alertly, meaning what should we be watching for in our own lives? We want to make sure things don't go off the rails. If they do, it's best to know well in advance so you can fix things, right?
So if you do need to altercate, you...
Now, altercation, you said, you turn it into the verb, the noun.
The nominalization.
Nominalization. So altercate, it can be to provoke, can it? But it doesn't have to be provoked to violence.
It doesn't have to. I suppose any altercation, which involves people altercating, it could be any kind of disagreement. It could be physical. It could be verbal. It could be silent in a sense.
Right. So we're clearly off the rails with this one.
That's it. That's all we're going to say.
Fit in. Now, here's one. I want to get into these phenomena you can create with other people for your own amusement. And you can be part of this, Chris.
All right. So this is the main content.
This is actual content. Remember, we're continuing with stuff like glasses of water pinned to the wall.
So hypnotic, this is under the
testes and stuff.
This is under the category of hypnotic phenomena that you can create
in a waking state
without formal hypnosis of any kind.
Now, one of the easiest things to create, and listen to me, folks, one of the easiest is itching. Because itching causes an awareness of the surface of the skin. And the question is, where are you, Chris, feeling that itch right now? And how is it spreading or changing?
That's a very personal question.
When you talk, I'm itching, talking about, when you talk about itching, you can cause this response in people at a party or something. And it's funny as heck if you say, if you give a rationale for it. So
make it,
give a reason for the itch. Even on stage, when I'd make it really cold, I'd say, oh, I wonder if there's something wrong with the air conditioning. I feel like I'm freezing in here. And people would start to feel cold right away because you've created a reason for it. Likewise with the itching. If you have people over your house,
of the surface of your skin.
Well, no, I'm thinking in terms of people all sitting around and you say, oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I said, our dogs had a bad flea problem. I hope we got them all out of the couch. So if you're itching, and right away you've given a reason. People think there's fleas. They'll start itching. They won't come back to your house, unfortunately. Well, maybe fortunately if they're idiots, but.
Or even if you revivify something like saying, have you ever had one of those experiences where somebody cut your hair with the trimmers?
Yeah.
And the little pieces are there and you have a t-shirt on and it gets
horrible.
under the collar and it's just all itchy, right?
Horrible.
Everyone's had that.
In fact, even Kreskin in his work of fiction, he said, you can say to somebody, oh, the spot on your arm, does it itch?
Does it itch?
It might have been, no, it was John Fisher. Kreskin said it about soup. He said, reading soup, you say, this doesn't taste right. I hope there's nothing wrong with the can. And other people are like,
all of a sudden they're reporting metallic flavors and stuff.
And botulism and so on.
Yeah.
E. coli, salmonella. There's a whole list of things you can die from. But the point is, if you say to the person, and I'm itching now. John Fisher said, there's a spot on your arm. Does that itch? No. Really? And
all of a sudden it'll start itching.
My arm is itching thinking about it. I'm wondering how much people watching or listening have itched already. So this is enjoyable to do because it tends to spread very quickly among a group, especially if there's a rationale. The second one is this one, Chris. Check this out. In a minute, you can notice the urge to swallow with a dryness in your throat, and it becomes very, very compelling. And the more you attempt to resist that urge, then when you do swallow, there's a tremendous sense of relief.
Yeah, it's happening. This is one of these beautiful things because it tends to happen already fairly often. And it's unconscious because you're not aware. You're doing it unconsciously. You may be consciously aware that you're doing it.
I look at myself again.
Not. Just like blinking, right?
Blinking. Well, that's kind of, in a while, you're going to get the urge to blink. Well, that kind of sucks.
Everyone knows that, though. That's too obvious. People know that we blink all the time. They're not always thinking about the fact that we swallow too.
Right. All the time. Yeah. Otherwise you have a mouth with a bucket full of freaking saliva in it.
And the more you're focused on resisting that, oh no, I'm not going to, have this.
Yeah,
urge
and
to
the key
swallow.
with this one, Chris, is you say, and when you do swallow, there'll be a tremendous sense of relief.
Yes, and there will be.
I'm doing it again.
Mhm.
Now, the next one is the easiest one to create as far as phenomena goes with wide awake people. It's just yawning.
Yeah, you just yawn.
You start yawning, and
Mhm.
especially if you do a bit of a really ring it out like that, you'll quickly get people yawning. It's something in our nature. We see someone yawn, even if you see the word yawn, it gets really tiring.
Yes, and it is infectious. It is
Infectious.
It is amazing. I remember, I think it was grade 12 physics class. We're sitting in the different lab desks, and that's when, at some point, I had taken an interest in some of this stuff and thought, this is interesting. If I yawn, how many people yawn? And if someone coughs, then another thing is, if one person coughs, usually 3 or 4 or 5 other people will cough immediately after that.
Yeah, it's a lot of this compliance stuff. In high school, we had a very strict teacher, and if you'd mess around at all, you couldn't turn around and grip your inner thigh high like Brian Roberts used to and all that huge, hilarious stuff. But if anybody acted up, even you knocked something over, he'd always assume it was done deliberately. You get in trouble. And I used to pass a note, pass it around the class, and it would say, at exactly 12:02 on that clock to the second, drop a heavy book off your desk. And he'd pass it through the whole class. And everyone would figure he'd do it all at once. No one's going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
But the humor is I'd be the only one who didn't do it. And I'd look around mystified. Like, brilliant.
Hilarious.
Now let's get on to a really cool thing you can do. Kids love this, but adults are blown away by it too. The amazing church bell trick.
And it's only getting better from here, guys. So
It is. I promise. It's not all insane stuff. Get a piece of string, a long piece of string, maybe 2.5 feet long. And in the very middle of it, tie it around the neck of a spoon, a dessert spoon.
Okay.
Just a table, one you use at the table for dessert. Take the ends of it, the string, and push them into your ears and hold them with your fingers. So the spoon is hanging now, loose in front.
the part that you eat with is at the top.
Yes,
and
the bowl,
part,
Chris. The
bottom
bowl of the
is at
spoon.
the bowl is at the top. The stem is at the bottom.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
just whatever way it
Yeah,
hangs
you've
is
just tied the
irrelevant.
string.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. So then it'll swing at random. Put the strings in your fingers and hold them there with your fingertips. And then lean forward to the edge of a table and let the spoon hit the table. You will not freaking believe this. It sounds like Westminster Abbey. Bong! This enormous church bell. You can try it with different size spoons. If you use a big serving spoon, it'll blow your mind. You'll be waiting for the Hunchback of Notre Dame to come running in.
This is cool because I totally
understand the physics.
Yeah. Here's a variation on that. When I was a kid, I had a metal, a slinky toy.
Yeah.
Right? The metal spring. It's called Slinky. It doesn't work so well with the plastic ones, although it does work a bit. But the metal one, if you take a Slinky and put it to your ear and then just let it sort of do its thing, it's so funny because it sounds like
restraint. Here's amazing.
Do you know what it sounds like?
I'm
it
afraid
sounds
to
like
ask.
a ray gun in a Star Wars movie. It's freaky sound.
That's
effects.
funny you should say that because I saw once a thing on sound effects in films, which is what the what's it called? Foley artist does the sounds, and how they made the sounds for phasers in one of the Star Trek movies. And a guy went out with a metal rod with a microphone to the big hydroelectric towers and hit the cable.
Yeah, and just
recorded it.
Yeah,
amazing.
That's it. That sound is. Well, I don't know exactly.
And when they wanted the sound of the spaceships exploding, they dynamited the tower and brought it down and recorded. Did I scare you? Okay.
All right.
Now let's get on to
amazing church bell. That's
the
very
spoon.
cool.
You can use it with all kinds of things. It's an amazing effect.
Okay, let's get on to the magic effects.
Well, that is kind of a kid's thing, but it is worth checking out. The wooden spoon penis trick. I can't call it anything else that is less offensive. Guys, this is brilliant. I've made friends of every conceivable gender laugh insanely at this. It's just when you're at someone's house and you're in the kitchen, and if you happen to see a wooden spoon in the drawer or whatever, you pick it up, but without anyone's knowledge. And you also get a tea towel. That's what we call them in England. What do you call it over here?
A tea towel.
A drying towel.
A dish towel. We just call them dish towels.
But not a dishcloth, not like a J cloth, but a tea towel. And you hold it by the long end, the short end, so it's hanging straight. And you hold it with your thumb, holding the spoon on an angle behind it.
Okay,
Nobody
so
sees
here,
it.
let's use the red flags.
All right, we'll use that as an example. So this would be, if this was a giant tea towel.
A piece of paper we can use. This will be your
here.
Towel.
So we'll use this as this is the wooden spoon. So I've got the stem of the wooden spoon with the bowl is at the bottom, and I hold it behind the tea towel
Wanna
like
flip
this.
it backwards so that everyone
Yeah,
can
so
see?
you can see I've got it behind the tea towel
Okay.
in the middle like this. That's it. Now, all you do is you lower it down, and all they see is a tea towel. Lower it down so it's in front of the
Wedding tackle.
the toilet area.
And then you sort of...
And all you do is tilt the spoon slowly without making it obvious. And it creates the illusion of a rampant
I think I know what you're talking about here.
privy
Yes.
member.
Yes.
If the privy member rising to attention behind this for no reason, like just suddenly, it's brilliant. Do it. Not for all audiences, I know.
It's very funny.
Hilarious to people who find that. Those of you who find that sort of thing funny will find it to be
this
exactly the sort of funny thing that you think you like. But the wooden spoon penis trick. Now, let's talk about the corks.
Okay, the corks.
This is freaking amazing. Do you want to give the backstory?
Yeah, I'll give the backstory. So in 2019,
Corks.
which was the last time
Wine
we
corks.
went to the UK Hypnosis convention, we met up with a bunch of our friends, which we called the Belgian
Well, they call themselves
Brain
that.
Pirates. Yeah, they're called the Brain Pirates or Brain Piraten or something. I don't know what it is in...
Quel fromage.
Yeah, it's so funny. So we're hanging out with these guys and they're fantastic.
Wonderful guys.
And at the end of the event, we all went with them and a bunch of our students.
To the
we went
Three
to
Magpies
to
pub.
the Three Magpies pub down the road from the Renaissance Hotel?
Yeah,
Or
something.
whatever the hotel is that the
The Hilton,
UKHC
the
was at. The Hilton, that's right. And so we went to this pub and then Mike, you had the corks on you or did you just
No,
ask
because the wine, there were wine corks.
we just
in the
found
bar.
some wine corks from the pub and Mike starts doing this really cool thing that he's going to actually teach you. But the funny thing is that you never would teach it to them. You'd show them. They would get frustrated by not being able to do it and
They're
laugh in
freaking out.
amazement.
Yeah, laughing.
And then you'd pretend you were going to teach them how to do it. But because this is the kind of trick that you can repeat over and over
And should
people
repeat
won't
over and
notice for more amusement, unlike most magic tricks, where you only do it once.
Right.
This was a source of amusement all freaking evening.
It was brilliant. And I kept saying I was going to teach
Finesse.
it. And then instead of teaching it, I'd say the same line over and over. So what you do is you're giving and we're going to give you a video on how
We're
to
going
do
to create
this.
a
2 wine
close-up
corks.
video of this that we will embed in the show notes and we'll post on YouTube.
Practice it in front of a mirror before you do it or somebody will see through it.
Yeah.
Once you've got it nailed, and don't let anyone be behind you. If they're in front of you, this will work even if they're close.
Yeah.
So basically you talk about physics and about
Do you
how
want to get the iPads out of the
No,
way?
I'm going to go above
Okay,
it.
okay.
But you want to talk about physics and talk about how in quantum physics, they show that particles are smaller and smaller and that even a solid object, something incredibly dense like lead or uranium, is still mostly empty space, which is true. And so molecular function and so on is keeping everything apart. And then you say, if we could pass 2 physical objects through each other, we'd be violating physics, but not really. All it would mean is the particles would find their way between each other because they are mostly empty space. Now, that is absolutely true in terms of
It doesn't
physics.
actually happen.
It doesn't happen anywhere, but
it's a cool
and you say,
explanation.
for example, if we take a couple of wine corks like this, and you can use 2 chapsticks or whatever, and you say basically,
Creamers.
all I'm going to do is grab them with my thumb and my middle finger of each hand and simply just pull them right through each other. So you hold them like this and you just take them and pull them through each other. And everyone's like, well, what? And they look and you say, no, I'll show you again. All you do is you take them.
Do it even
and
closer
just
to the camera
Pull
if
them
you
through
can.
each. Well, we're going to get a close up of this for you. Simply, I'm going to look at myself now for the first time because I
Here,
can't.
you know what?
Take them.
I
No,
have
I'm
an
not
idea.
moving.
I have an idea.
What?
Just stay where you are.
Are you going to move the camera?
No, I'm just going to zoom in on you.
All right. Okay. Here we are. He's zooming in like Jack the what?
Zoomer.
Okay, watch. You just take them and simply pull them right through each other. And the illusion is fantastic, even done multiple times. Okay, come back. Get off my face. Okay, so what makes this hilarious is they want to know how you do it. And you say, it's simple. It's the simplest thing in the world. Here's the words. A child could do it. You say, all you do, and they're all, yeah, okay, he's going to show us. You say, you just take them and simply pull them right through each other. And they're, you've done it again.
And then you slow it down. You're
It's
even able to
impossible
slow
for the
it
eyes to
down.
follow the 2
Yeah.
at once. And you slow it right down and still you pull them right through each other. And it's mind-blowingly funny. We'll put the video on.
Mhm.
But then you even say this, okay, you really want to know, I'll show you. And you put an X on the end of one cork and on the other end. You say one cork has an X on each end, the other has nothing. I'll show you. They don't actually change hands. You just flip them around. They stay in the same hand. Now you're telling them
So
how
you've
it's
got-
done.
you've got
so
the
you get the
X
one with
here.
the X here. And they go, oh, show me. So you do it and you say, all I'm going to do is just pull them through each other. Oh no, they do go through each other. It changed hands. No, we kept the Belgian Brain
Endless
Pirates going for
frustration.
freaking ever with this. Practice
Yeah.
it until you can do it perfectly, and then Amaze and Astound your friends.
The key thing here I really want to point out is the mechanics. Once you learn the mechanics, are you going to teach it on this podcast or only in the
I'm
supplemental
going to teach
video?
it only in the supplemental
Okay,
video.
in the supplemental video, which will be here in the show notes, we'll make sure it's in the description of the podcast and also on our website. When we publish the podcast on the podcast section, we'll embed that video.
All right.
But the key thing here is the mechanics are quite simple. It's the theatrics that you need to master. And I'm
Yes.
still working on that
Yes.
part myself.
You
But
gotta sell it.
this selling it, that's what makes it so important.
All right.
Or so
Now,
effective.
having said that, we're going to give you another one. This is the
Okay.
5-card mind reading effect. And we're going to go through these quickly because we're running out of time here already.
Yes,
Chris.
we are.
But we're going to give you the 5-card mind reading trick that I did on national television and blew people's minds, even people at home. So what you do
Okay.
is you get these 5 cards out of a deck: King of Hearts, 7 of Clubs, Ace of Diamonds, 4 of Hearts, 9 of Diamonds. And maybe we can have these put on the screen.
Yeah,
to
Ross,
show
when
the
you're
effect.
editing the podcast, throw those in there. So
That'll
King
be
of
great.
Hearts, 7 of Clubs,
Ace
Ace
of
of Diamonds, 4 of Hearts, 9 of Diamonds.
And you put them in a row in that order next to each other. And I actually clipped them with paper clips onto a little sheet of cardboard.
Okay.
Brought them in, and you hold them up to the camera if you're doing it on TV or just people in the room. And you say, everybody look at these and focus on them and decide on one just mentally. We're each going to pick different ones. Everyone choose a card. Let me know when you've got one. And they do. And then you take the cards off the clip, or you can have a prediction on the table and you say, everybody got your card, and you turn it over and it says, you will choose the 4 of Hearts. And everyone goes, whoa, because pretty well almost everybody will choose the 4 of Hearts. And you say that you're transmitting this to their minds. Now, or you can say you've received it from them. The rationale behind this psychologically is people look at this spread of cards. The Ace of Diamonds is really obvious right in the center. People
Yeah.
look at that and go, oh, too
They
obvious.
dismiss it. Yeah.
Then they look at 7 of Clubs, but go, wait a minute, that's the only black card. He's trying to get me to think of that.
Okay.
This is all unconscious.
Right.
They look at the King and say, it's the only picture card, the only court card. And then they go back to 4 of Hearts and 9 of Diamonds, which are both red. And the 9 of Diamonds is perceived psychologically as less satisfying on the very end than the 4 of Hearts in the 4th position. And that's the one they will choose.
Okay.
So do it. You'll blow people's minds. It's very, very strong.
Okay, that's really cool.
All
So
right.
it's really just a law of large numbers thing.
Yes.
If you do this enough times, more people will. And if you're doing this with a group of 5 people, most
Group
of them
of
are
any
going to
size.
still choose that card.
Yeah. Almost all
Yeah.
will choose that.
And then they'll be amazed. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Really cool.
Here's another one you can do that I just love. This swindle trick, I call it. I got from a kid's magic book and developed this into a mentalism effect. This is the one I showed Widge and Ariel Freilich, who are great magicians, and they went, not a clue how you did this. You take your deck of cards, and I'm going to walk you through it. It's real easy. Have somebody shuffle a deck of cards, examine them. You say, you call it an experiment, not a trick. And so they take their deck of cards, they shuffle them. You're probably not going to be able to do this because
Yeah.
there's no space to work.
That's fine.
Then you say, you take the cards back, put them on the table, and you say, give me a number, a random number, let's say less than 20. So this is how it comes across to them. So they say, hey,
13.
hey, ADD boy, over
right.
here. So then you say, he says 13. So you take the cards, you deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and you deal a 13th card right in front of them. Tell them to turn it over. You put the deck down. They turn it over. Say it's 7 of Clubs. You say, interesting. 7 of Clubs. There's no reason it couldn't be the 7 of Clubs, is there? And they say, no. And you say, I wonder if that 7 of Clubs could tell us anything else from the shuffled pack. I wonder if it could tell us what the 13th card from the bottom is. And they'll go, what? And you say, well, probably not another 7, maybe a picture card if that's a number card. That's black, so the odds are it'll be red. You're just making this stuff up. And then you say, I'm thinking it's going to be the Queen, a Queen of some, maybe Queen of Diamonds, Queen of Hearts. I'll say Queen of Diamonds. You turn the pack over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's a 13th card, Queen of Diamonds. Insane, because the cards have been shuffled by them, and they've got a random number when the cards are shuffled, and you know what card is that same number from the bottom of a shuffle pack. So easy to do. Do you know it?
I'm only.
Pass me the cards.
Okay.
Any
Oh,
cards.
yeah. You have to pick it
Yes.
because they pick the number 13.
Yes, they pick it.
So, yeah. Okay.
All you need to know is what the bottom card of the deck is. So when they shuffle, you take them back. Just glance at it like this while you're talking. They don't even know what you're going to do. Set the cards face down. The bottom card is going to be the card. You've memorized it. Now they say, let's say it's 3. So they choose the number 3. You go 1, 2, and you put the third one in front of them, and everybody's watching that, and you say, turn that card face up. As everybody looks there, you're pointing to it. You say that card. You drop your cards on the two you've dealt,
which
and
means
move back away from them. You've now put the bottom card. Yeah, it's self-explanatory. It's all in the presentation. If you're in a big table, drop it right in front of them. Set the deck on those cards and lean back, showing openness, fairness. You've got nothing to do with the deck.
Because their attention has shifted to this card
Classic
here,
misdirection.
You just drop the pack on top.
Yeah.
And now,
and you can push it forward a little bit, but move away from it. You're using spatial misdirection. You're away from it. You're using time misdirection now because now you recap. Isn't that interesting? A shuffle pack, and you picked a number, and it's 7 of clubs, whatever they say. Wouldn't it be interesting if that could tell us the reason you're spinning it out here with a bit of time misdirection is they'll forget there were other cards dealt, and they'll forget where they even went.
We've got to put together like a combo guest training. You and Michael C. Anthony, where we do a Zoom class and just teach a bunch of these things.
Glad to do it, buddy.
Cool.
Well, let's go now to card to the book in the other room. Here's how it comes across.
Oh, this is fun.
This is brilliant. I've done this.
You must be on our mailing list. Again, I'm going to remind you, you want to be on our mailing list. We'll put a link in here for our free course on conversational hypnosis, because that's the easiest way to get on our mailing list. And then you're getting the Sunday open mic emails where Mike actually explained this one. But now you get the video version, so it's more fun.
So here's how you do it. Here's the basic effect. You're downstairs with a friend. I did this. I'm going to give you how I did it, and then you can just apply it to your own house or wherever you live. So my buddy's downstairs. He's looking at some of my graphology books, and I'm showing him one of them. We put it down back on the shelf, and we wind up back up in the main floor where most of the other people are at this party.
And you happen to notice that he was interested in this book.
Yes.
Which comes into play.
But it was all set up. He didn't know that.
Yeah.
So what happened was we're on the main floor, people in every room talking. There's maybe 20 people there. I said, let me show you a cool thing. There's a deck of cards sitting on the bookshelf in the main floor. So I take it off, you show him the cards, shuffle the cards. I have him take one, and I say, absolutely free choice, right? Yes. Okay. I want you to sign your name on the cards. We have the Sharpie, and he signs his name on the card. And I say, I'm going to make this vanish right in front of you. Actually,
do you want me to be your demo
subject?
Yeah,
so basically what I'm doing is I'm going to hypnotically make this card become invisible. That's how you sell it. So I'm going to say to him, watch. So we'd be standing face to face. Can't really do it here. I'm going to pass it. Keep your eyes on the card, and I pass it around behind his head. And I'm standing near enough.
I'm a little too far away, right?
So I'm passing it around this way so I can reach behind his head, bring it round. Keep looking at the card. Imagine it's fading. So imagine it's becoming invisible. And I'll do this for like 20 seconds, going slower and slower. And then my hand comes back around from behind his head, and it's empty. And the card's gone. And the person will immediately look on the floor behind to see if you've dropped it. Yeah. And you're in the middle of a room, there's nothing there. And you go, what? How the heck do you do that? Here, let me show you something. Go downstairs and bring me that graphology book we were just looking at. The guy will tell you to F off at this point because this is insane. He goes down, takes it off the shelf, brings it back up. You say, turn to page 46. He does. And there's the card he has signed inside that book down on the other floor.
And he went and got the book himself.
Got it. Instead waited for him. Yeah. Now, this is so freaking easy to do. All you need is a Confederate, a helper, who's in on the joke. And you make sure when the guy's standing there, his back is to an open doorway. And so you have your friend knows what the book is that you're going to be using. And when you go upstairs, he immediately goes downstairs, takes it out, opens it to page 48, whatever, and it's sitting there ready. Then you go through all the rigmarole. He picks a card at random, signs it, and you go through this slowly. And when you get behind his head, when you go slower and slower, your friend reaches forward, takes it out of your hand. You make sure the floor doesn't creak or anything, rushes downstairs, and you're having the person focus on your eyes. The book is open. He puts it in the page, shuts the book, and then goes somewhere else in the party.
So all he's the rest not is the ever visible.
Never seen. No one is ever there. It is absolutely amazing. I got this idea from Ed Fernandez years ago. Had an assistant he worked with. He took a coin, passed it behind the guy's head, and his friend grabbed it and put it in his pocket. And it just the coin disappeared. And I thought, let's make it a card. Do this. You'll blow people's minds. We got one more effect.
Okay,
then we're going to abort this thing.
Distance phone trick with reporters.
This, I should not even give you this. But I invented this. And because I've stopped performing professionally over 4 years ago now.
You can give it all away.
I can give it all away. But I still do close-up stuff, sleight of hand with cards. But this is so freaking brilliant. I did this with 3 reporters in Oshawa, Ontario, at a nice restaurant because I was going to be performing at the theater there. And we sat and had lunch, and I did a couple of mind-bending effects on them and freaked them out and bent some silverware. And that sort of thing. I said, you want to try something really difficult? They said, sure. So I took a small pad out of my briefcase, set it at the table, and I said, one of you give me a 3-digit number. Let's not try too hard. And the guy said, 961. I said, 961. You happy with that? I said, yeah, write down 961. Name a color. Somebody said yellow, so write down yellow. Okay, take this deck of cards, shuffle it, take a card at random. 3 of hearts, 3 of hearts. Were these all free choices? Yes. Okay, just quiet your minds for a moment. Everyone, just run these through your mind. The 3-digit number, the color yellow, and the playing card. Okay, does anybody have a cell phone? Oh, I got one. Okay, oh, sure. I want you to call this number. And it's an 813 area code. It's Florida. It's Michael C. Anthony in Florida, my best friend at the time.
Do you punch it
He's
in
my
for
other
them?
best friend. No, they phone the number. You just give it to them. They phone the number. He says, hello. Yeah, is Mike there? Yeah, I'm speaking. We're sitting here with Mike Mandel. He's doing, oh, yeah. He says you can read his mind if he focuses on these things and if we add our mind power. Well, I'll certainly give it a try. You know, he's a consummate professional. He can act it brilliantly. So they say, we're thinking of a 3-digit number. He said, well, if there's anything else, that might be too hard. Is there a color? I could try that first. Yeah. Okay. Everybody think of the color. And 20 seconds of silence. He says, it's yellow. Everyone, yes.
How did you know?
He's in Florida. Okay. So then now let's add the playing card. Oh, I'm thinking it's a red card. We say, yes. And he gets the card right. He said that the number's the hardest. Please, everybody think of it. And he says a number. Oh, no, I'm saying it backwards. Is it? And then he says it the right way. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for your help. They're blown away. They give a great story on me. The show is packed out. We have a blast. It's a brilliant, brilliant trick. And
I know how it's done. I just figured
right?
it out. No. Well, maybe you did, and maybe I'm remembering.
I think I did tell you.
Memories are never accurate. So if I think that I've just figured it out, it's probably because you told me at some point.
I did tell you.
So let me guess. You actually have the phone on. You have to call him while this is being set up. Now they don't know that there's an effect being done, so they're not suspicious that you've got your phone on the table on speakerphone. You just leave it there.
Yeah.
And he's listening.
He's listening to the whole thing.
And then he gets everything, and then he just plays along about the difficulty.
I actually had my phone in my briefcase. As I'm looking for the thing, I just press redial, and he's waiting for the call. He knows it's going to happen.
Yes.
And he's just listening to the conversation.
Yeah.
So I never even produce a phone. I get the briefcase open. I've got cards in and out.
You don't, the phone's not even in their view.
Right.
You just open the lid of your briefcase. It stays there. You hit redial. He listens to the whole conversation. He hangs up.
Yeah.
So that you just take your phone and there's no phone call.
No, I never take my phone. I just remember his phone number and I tell them. They phone it on their phone.
On their phone.
That's what makes it so powerful. My phone is never seen.
Bloody heck.
And we get the number and the color. Here's the thing. Time misdirection, guys. The number, the color, whatever you're doing way before you do the effect.
Yes.
And then do other stuff in between. And you say, we're going to come back to this later. And then you've never left the table.
Oh, man.
They verify you've never. It is a reputation maker.
It's so cool. Because
it is my gift to you.
All of these things, it's Occam's razor, right? The fewest assumptions new assumptions that need to be generated is going to give you the closest.
Yes, the solution that
answer.
requires the fewest new hypotheses is the likely one.
Exactly.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, you know what, buddy? I think we're going to have to call this.
I think so. That was an amazing podcast. That was a lot of fun. Good stuff. We have to record the bonus video that we promised.
We will.
To teach the cork trick.
Yeah.
And by the way, you can use the creamers too. So corks are a nice size, but if you're in a coffee shop.
Chapstick, even better.
Yeah. I like creamers because they're a little bit wider. Anyway, it works really well.
This pair of corks are my favorite. These ones I always use because they're a little smaller and I don't have big hands, and it enables me to pass physical matter through it.
Yeah. Super fun. You can do this way. You can do it at any coffee shop.
Thanks again.
So we'll see you in the next episode, 210,
where we're going to actually get to what we're going to.
What we meant to do in this one, but we ended up with too much content for the fun stuff. So next podcast, we're going to be talking about things that we've learned from some of our hypnosis friends, Igor Ladahovsky. Igor, we already talked about once.
Right. Scott Sandlin.
This was Scott Sandlin,
Anthony Jacquin,
and James Tripp. We just recently hosted all three of those for different guest trainings inside of the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy. We're going to talk more about the awesome stuff we learned from them. So that is it for this podcast.
Yep.
Thanks again. And good night.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah.
Yes, Mark. We're going to do a make me laugh thing. Okay. I'm going to make you laugh no matter. No, we're not doing the corks, you've asked. Okay. So you cannot smile. You cannot laugh. Okay. $5.
Do I have to look at you?
Yes.
Damn.
$5.
I've already lost.
Okay, and you tell me when you're ready to start.
Okay. Hold on. Yeah. Or as my daughter would say.
Nice. Remember my dad? That's not the thing.
That's not
my dad
the thing.
did that. Used to scare me, Go. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
No laughing, no smiling. I like the way they give you a glass of water. Give a glass of water, please. I'm starting to panic. Back to Cliff. Oh, we're at work right now. Thanks again. Good night.